Hello and welcome to PolyCosm. My name is Christina and today we'll look into a tutorial/Blender add-on pack called Clothes in Motion. If you watched my other quick tips, you'll be familiar with the fact that I use SimplyCloth Pro and Garment Tool when constructing garments for the DAZ models that I pose for my illustrations. So how is Clothes in Motion different? I actually had that very same question. Well, upon reviewing this pack, I noticed that one, it's a bit more user-friendly and easier to get into, as Alexander has provided lots of useful tutorials, so you'll be able to pick it up quite quickly and start animating some clothing in no time. And two, this add-on and tutorial pack seems to be a bit more geared towards animators. I'll explain why. First of all, the pack focuses heavily on fixing collision and overlap issues that occur during cloth simulation. Alexander has provided a super handy little button called Convert to Keys, which basically breaks up and converts your entire cloth simulation into shape keys. If you're unfamiliar with that concept, a shape key is basically the state of a 3D mesh in a particular frame. So if we use this example and hit Convert to Keys, we get a copy of the previous mesh. However, take note that for every frame, we've been assigned a shape key. So if we go to a random frame, only one shape key is active, and if we now slide between 1 and 0, you'll see the mesh resetting to its original state. Let me try to explain this in an easier way, because I know it's very confusing. If I construct a cube, I can choose to make this the default state. But if I add in another key after the first one, move a vertex in a particular axis and enter object mode, it seems like nothing has happened. But if we increase the value, So let's try to hide the first key and let's create a second one. This time I want to squish the cube a bit from the top. So it'll look something like this. What if I now turn on the previous key? Voila! You see that we get a combination of both of these deformations, and we can of course manually adjust how much we want of each key. So how exactly is this handy for cloth animation? Well, first of all, this requires much less computing power than doing a normal simulation. Once you're happy with the simulation, you just hit Convert to Keys and your PC will thank you. But actually what's so magical about this is you can edit the cloth during different frames. By the way, before I show you the next example, I wanted to just quickly show you how I set it up. So I had this animation that I downloaded from Mixamo. By the way, Mixamo is completely free and contains a massive motion capture library. If you need animations, this is the place to go. So I basically have this animation, but I want to simulate this t-shirt that I made using the preset in the Clothes in Motion add-on. If we choose a skeleton, we can get the character in rest pose, but then we won't be able to really animate the t-shirt with the model. So let's bring up the timeline and move the keyframes a bit. Then on keyframe 1, let's enter pose mode, and through pose, clear transform and all, we can reset the pose. While hovering over the viewport, hit I and choose available. Now our character goes from T-pose to the animated pose. Let's add in our t-shirt back and just make sure that the mannequin is a collider and hit play. So if you have a model doing a crazy action move, the cloth is bound to go crazy, clip through the body, through itself, and so on. So let's find a particularly bad keyframe where we'd like to correct the cloth a bit. Hit edit frame and that'll take you directly to sculpt mode, where you can actually fix anything that's overlapping and intersecting, and you can keep going frame by frame until things look good. This add-on just makes this process super simple and easy, and that's why I feel like this is so great for animators. Secondly, the pack also comes with quite a few presets like hats, pockets, buttons, glasses, clothes, shoes, and so on. My absolute favorite thing about this add-on though is how it makes attaching buttons and pockets to the base of your clothing so easy. And it even animates with the cloth. How cool is that? So to get the parts that aren't merged with the main cloth animated, let's select a preset like this pocket, move it close to the target, and the further out you move the pocket, the thicker it gets. And under the shrink wrap and surface deform option, we can choose our cloth as the target. Just make sure that in the surface deform that you also press bind. So when we now play the animation, it will animate with the cloth. How about buttons and such? Let's add in a button and duplicate it a bunch of times. Place the button close to the cloth, select the main cloth and hit set as target. Next, select the buttons, just make sure you have no modifiers attached and hit cloth to key. This is so magical. The only downside to this method is the buttons deform with the cloth, so in parts where the cloth bends a lot, you will see a lot of this happening. I got in touch with Alexander and he said that to counteract that, we can use a bit of a workaround. So have your cloth ready and in edit mode, select the face where you'd like to place a button. Hit Ctrl G to assign a new vertex group. That's basically the same as going into the vertex menu, adding a new vertex group, choosing that one face and hitting assign. Right, so while in edit mode, let's shift right click and move our 3D cursor to wherever our selected face is. Add in a button, move and rotate it so it's perpendicular to the face. I recommend using local to move the button up and down on the button's local axis. It's just much easier to control. With the button selected, head to Object Constraint Properties and add a child of constraint. Choose the cloth as the target and the vertex group you just made. Sometimes the button might move from its original location, so if that happens, just right click and set the origin and choose origin to 3D cursor, and then right click again to move the geometry to origin. If you now play the animation, magic will happen. The button is no longer deforming. So yeah, as you can see, it's a bit of work to do for objects not to deform, but Alexander mentioned implementing a feature in the upcoming updated version of the add-on that will basically simplify this whole process. I can't wait for that feature. Right, so hopefully you can start to see how this add-on is super handy for cloth animation. Combined with Simply Cloth, which has a large cloth preset library and allows you to choose between a lot of cloth texture presets like leather, silk, denim, allows you to easily control collision, add pins, sew clothing, adjust the gravity and speed, and so on. I mean, these two add-ons combined is quite the powerhouse. So to make these cloth add-ons a bit less confusing, because I know they're all just starting to merge together now, I made a chart kind of listing the features, user friendliness, what's included in the purchase, what the add-ons are specifically geared towards, and so on. Hopefully this chart will help give you a better idea of what add-on to purchase if you're into cloth making in Blender. First of all three of these add-ons have tutorials on YouTube. Clothes in Motion has more in-depth tutorials included in the pack itself. And I actually found those to be super useful, and I actually learned a lot that I didn't know, like how to make more unique pieces of clothing. Garment Tool and Simply Cloth both cover cloth simulation and cloth creation in extensive detail through their UI, whereas Clothes in Motion doesn't cover that workflow in the UI. Alexander does go over how to create pieces of clothing, sew pieces, and so on, but that actually requires a lot of manual labor and kind of sifting through the long menu of settings. So that's why I mentioned actually having Simply Cloth Pro as an addition might be super useful for speeding up that part of the workflow. Garment Tool is very similar to both of these add-ons as it covers cloth creation, cloth simulation, adding pockets, details, and so on, but I honestly find the UI and workflow a bit difficult to use. The tutorials on it aren't the easiest to follow either. So, I mean, in conclusion, from a difficulty scale, Clothes in Motion has the easiest UI to navigate, but if you want to do anything outside of what's included in the UI, be prepared to look through a lot of menus. With SimplyCloth, you don't have to do any of that. Most of what you need will be included in the UI, but for a first-time user, it might seem a bit daunting. I have several tutorials covering how to use SimplyCloth if you're interested in the add-on. And the most difficult to use, learn and understand, of course, is Garment Tool, although it is the most powerful I find and mimics Marvelous Designer the closest in my opinion. Okay, hopefully I've managed to give you guys an idea of what you can expect from Clothes in Motion and how it's different from SimplyCloth and Garment Tool. Let me know if you guys have any further questions in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll list all of the add-ons in the description and pin comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!